Welcome back to the ACB Wrestling Talk channel. I am your host, Alexis Carrillo, and this is the absolute best show for wrestling news and wrestling discussions on YouTube. And without further ado, let's get right into the information. And of course, this past Sunday, WWE held its Extreme Rules pay-per-view, and the biggest news coming out of that pay-per-view was that once again, WWE went back to the well again and selected Brock Lesnar as the Universal Champion. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Beast Incarnate cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase to become not a one-time, not a two-time, but a three-time WWE Universal Champion. Much to the dismay of the fans and much to the dismay of your host. Yours truly, I myself am not a fan of Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion. Simply put, he's a part-timer. And in my opinion, even though I am a fan of Brock Lesnar, the character, I am a big fan of what WWE has done with the character since his return. I think ever since he beat The Undertaker's undefeated WrestleMania streak back in 2014, I think Brock Lesnar has been the most protected superstar on that roster. The problem is that he barely shows up. And the even bigger problem is that WWE continues to put him in main event spots, and WWE continues to place him and give him the title. Okay, because first of all, I would not be as angry. Well, angry is a strong word. I wouldn't be as uncomfortable with Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion if he was a full-time superstar. The man can wrestle. The man has presence. And people can buy into Brock Lesnar being the top guy in the company. The problem is that he's a part-timer. The problem is he barely shows up. And being the champion means that you have the responsibility to show up. So, I'm cool with part-timers being in WWE. I'm cool with all of that. I just ask WWE for two main conditions. And obviously, they're not going to listen to me. I'm just a fan. I'm just giving out my opinion. But, this is my show, and I want to give out my opinion. So, these two conditions are, number one, when you bring part-timers back, do not place them as the main event, as the biggest attractions of your shows. Because that sends the wrong message. Okay? That sends the wrong message to me and to the audience, to the fans, to everyone. Because I get the marketing scheme of trying to market the big four pay-per-views as the biggest events of the year. I get bringing them in for the Royal Rumble and for SummerSlam and for the Survivor Series and for WrestleMania. I get that so much. You want to differentiate those pay-per-views from the rest, and so you bring out the big guns. The problem is when you have a pay-per-view like Stomping Grounds, where none of these big guys are anywhere to be found, it's very hard for fans and for the audience to buy into a Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler being a credible main event when they know that WWE could just bring back Brock Lesnar. They could just bring back Triple H, The Undertaker, The Rock, anyone and everyone from the past, anyone who's made a big enough name for themselves and who just comes back for the paycheck, who just comes back for a very short stint and for that big pop, and that's it. And number two, obviously, it's pretty much the same thing. Just don't make him the top guy. Don't make him the champion. Unfortunately, that's what they did with Brock Lesnar at Sunday's pay-per-view of Extreme Rules. Now, what we saw on Monday Night Raw with Seth Rollins winning that all-star cross-branded 10-man battle royal, he gets to challenge the Beast at SummerSlam, at the biggest event of the summer in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He gets his quote-unquote rematch because he had to earn this rematch And now we have ourselves a main event. Which brings me to my next point. I think the main reason why they had Brock Lesnar cash in at Extreme Rules, and the reason why I believe, and I don't know if this is just hopeful thinking, but the reason I believe that this might just be a 1 month reign for Lesnar is that WWE needed a big main event for SummerSlam, and that means Lesnar versus Rollins, the rematch from WrestleMania. And I'm going to tell you this, I could not be more ecstatic, more excited about this match, because these two guys can go. And we saw a pretty fast and furious match at the beginning of earlier this year's WrestleMania. Now I'm hoping that they bring them out and they can go for 20, 25, 30 minutes. Do the same with Rollins, with what they did for AJ Styles and for Daniel Bryan against Lesnar. Actually have Lesnar wrestle. And no matter what, no matter the result, obviously I'm rooting for Seth Rollins to come out two-time Universal Champion, but no matter the result, have both guys go over as top guys. Even in the losing effort, you can book a match and you can give out a performance that elevates both superstars. And Seth Rollins has been established, or was established at WrestleMania, as the top guy on Monday Night Raw, and he should still be that top guy, or at least close to that top guy level of Monday Night Raw, whether he wins or loses after his match with Lesnar. So that's what I'm hoping about this entire feud. I'm hoping this is just a 1 month thing for Lesnar, for his reign, and we can come back and give Rollins a second run with the Universal Championship and establish the main event of Raw, which has to be Strowman, has to be Lashley, has to be Rollins, has to be Corbin, even though I'm not a big fan. But hey, include him in the main event. There are so much full-time performers, full-time talents that deserve to be in this spot more than Lesnar. And I know Lesnar draws money, but hey, it's about looking towards the future, and Lesnar is not going to be here 10 years from now. Hopefully. Okay? Moving on. Let's talk about the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Let's talk about his return to WWE. We all saw it on Monday Night Raw. He made his official return, in-ring return, even though it wasn't a match. He returned and he laid out Finn Balor. And we know what fans' opinion on this entire Bray Wyatt's character's journey has been over the past few months. Remember, just a few months ago when they started introducing or reintroducing Bray Wyatt back to the audience, it was all about this Firefly Funhouse, and the fans were, well, they were turning on WWE and they were turning on Bray Wyatt. They did not like the fact that this character, this Eater of Worlds character that they had manufactured for Bray Wyatt, both Bray Wyatt and WWE had manufactured for WWE television. A character that no matter how many times he lost, and he did lose a lot, no matter how many times he lost, he was a character that you still cared about. He was a character that you were still invested. He only won the big one once, and not for very long, but still, he was a character that we all loved to watch. And a lot of fans, to say the least, got insulted when they reintroduced us to Bray Wyatt as a Blue's Clues type of character, as this family-friendly kind of fake Bray Wyatt that they were introducing. Now, a lot of fans were already turning their backs on WWE. They were already counting Bray Wyatt out. Not me. Not me. Okay? If there is anything that I am a fan about in terms of WWE, it's the fact that you have to build characters. Just like in real life. Just like in the real world with real people. You have to watch, in entertainment, you have to watch characters evolve. And what I saw in these initial Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse segments was the evolution of Bray Wyatt from the Eater of Worlds into the Fiend. I could tell from those videos that Bray Wyatt wasn't quite all there up here. He wasn't right mentally. You could see it. It was a slow build, a slow burn. Towards the end, they started showing us what they really wanted us to discover about Bray Wyatt. And it finally was introduced to us in a grand way on Monday Night Raw, and I cannot be more excited for the Bray Wyatt character. And my hopes for this character is that make this character not care about championships, not care about wins. That never mattered to Bray Wyatt in the past. Why should it now? Okay? If it were up to me, this character, Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, this brand new character that has been introduced to us by WWE, would be kind of in a similar vein to Heath Ledger's iconic Joker character in The Dark Knight. A character that he didn't care about proving people, or he didn't care about being the hero. He didn't just care about being the hero. He wanted to play mind games with the hero. He wanted to create chaos. He wanted to create anarchy. And I think you have a lot of potential to do just that with Bray Wyatt's brand new Fiend. So, what do you think? Do you think WWE should continue with this Bray Wyatt the Fiend character? Do you think they should try and tweak it a little bit, make it a little bit more similar to the old Eater of Worlds? Or are you intrigued and interested in my pitch of having this Fiend character be more akin to Heath Ledger's Joker? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And of course, one of the biggest talking points about WWE in the past, or in the recent months, has been the 24/7 championship. And again, we go back to that old trope of fans judging things or judging concepts on the very first image that we see, on the very first impression that we see, and it turns out it's not quite. Because when the 24/7 championship was introduced by Mick Foley, fans just could not hate on that segment, on that championship, on that idea, on that concept more than they had already. They were all like, this is just a poor man's hardcore championship. This isn't going to work. This is just WWE giving us some of what we want, but with the PG tag on it. You know, just slapped on it. And I had my doubts about the championship as well. A lot of people criticized the design as well of the championship. You know, the center plate kind of looks a little bit weird. It looks like a clock, as it should, because it's a 24/7 championship. But overall, the green belt, the big yellow gold centerpiece for the 24/7 championship, if I recall, it looks a little bit like the title that Hulk Hogan held before the Winged Eagle Championship in '85. If I'm not mistaken, they're similar designs. What the then WWF Championship was to the current 24/7 Championship. So essentially what WWE created was chaos, anarchy, that anything can happen feel on Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown Live, on pay-per-views, with the 24/7 Championship. And what did we get? We just witnessed on Monday Night Raw, one of the most entertaining segments of the year, maybe of the past few years, with R-Truth and Maverick, and Drake Maverick. First of all, R-Truth cannot be more hilarious than he is right now. The fact that he keeps butchering, on purpose obviously, on purpose from Ron Killings, not on purpose for the R-Truth character, but he keeps butchering the name of the championship, the European title, the 47-7 title, the 7-11 title, whatever. That's hilarious. I can't get enough of that. Honestly, I don't want this R-Truth versus Drake Maverick feud to end, because I think that's exactly what we should be getting from the 24/7 title. And Drake Maverick has been doing a stellar job. He's a pretty comedic character. We've seen it time and time again, and I think it's working, and hopefully they don't stop, because it's pure entertainment, and that's what WWE should be about, entertaining the fans. That's essentially what WWE is. WWE is sports entertainment. You want pro wrestling? You want pure pro wrestling? Go watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. Go watch Impact. Go watch AEW when it finally debuts on TNT. Go watch all of that. Go watch all of that pure wrestling. I am a fan of not only wrestling, but I am a fan of sports entertainment, and I cannot get enough of this 24/7 concept. So hopefully they keep doing that. And might I suggest, EC3 was Drake Maverick's best man at Maverick's wedding. Why not have EC3 actually do something? Because he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done squat since he was called up to the main roster. Why not have him do something and be the muscle for Drake Maverick and get that title back? And, build something out of that. All of this has to evolve. You have to keep building up the story. You have to keep twisting and turning. That's what keeps viewers engaged. That's what you got to do. But what do you think? Do you like the 24/7 championship concept so far? Do you think there are more ways to improve? What would you improve with the title? Leave your comments on this topic.